Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just see if our audio-visual guy is ready. We got the thumbs up, we're ready. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming tonight. This is a December 14th, 2017 meeting of the East Fishkill Town Board, the last meeting of the year. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you very much. Just have a few announcements for this evening. This is very...
Oh, Supervisor, I'm sorry. Can I have a
I
point?
just started.
I know.
You were just elected.
Can I have can I have one point of order?
I suppose.
Just one. Okay, thank you.
Oh, no. No point of order.
Overruled.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor, on behalf of the Town Board, I'm proud to present you this engraved proclamation, and it says, Supervisor John L. Hickman, Jr., in recognition and appreciation of his 26 years of dedicated service to the people of East Fishkill as Highway Department from 1991 to 1997, Building Department from 1998 to 2005, and Town Supervisor from 2006 to 2017, dedicated to preserving the small-town charm of East Fishkill during a time of economic growth, also known for his careful and thoughtful financial stewardship during the long recession. John has always the best interest of the town at heart. His passion, love, and great wealth of knowledge of our town will always be remembered. The East Fishkill Town Board is proud to recognize John Hickman as a true leader, a man of vision, and an asset to our community. Congratulations, John. Wait, and Supervisor, you can stay right there. You can stay right there.
I just want to say, look, I've got a gavel. It's got a gavel.
Yes, it does. It's got a gavel. It's got a gavel.
Made in China, doesn't break.
And it's in one piece?
Yeah.
It's in one piece.
Just a few words, Supervisor. Just a couple. We knew that you would make it difficult on us, so we had to do it this way. I'm sorry. I just like to, on a personal note, I'd like to thank you, John, for all your years of service, for your stewardship of the town, your friendship, and I know I have big shoes to fill, and I promise to work hard to make you proud, John. And there's some people who would like to say a few words. Maybe if a few of the town board would like to start.
Boy, that was some point of order now, wasn't it? Now, when you're a supervisor and somebody says point of order, just cut them off. That's a good lesson right there.
John, myself, I would really like to thank you for the last 4 years, your friendship and your guidance, and I really, really appreciate it. It was a tremendous time to work with you. And I have something here from State Senator Sue Serino. Her and her staff cannot be here tonight, but they wanted me to present this to you. Legislative proclamation honoring John Hickman upon the occasion of his designation for special recognition for 26 years of distinguished public service to the citizens of East Fishkill, New York, on December 14th, 2017. Whereas the legislative office seeks to acknowledge those individuals whose professional lives and civic endeavors serve to enhance the stature of the state of New York. And it is the custom of this legislative office to recognize that the quality and character of life in communities across New York State are reflective of the concerned and dedicated efforts of those individuals who are devoted to the welfare of their community and its citizenry. And whereas attendant to such concern and in full accord with its longstanding traditions, this legislative office is justly proud to commend John Hickman upon the occasion of his designation for special recognition after 26 years of distinguished public service. And individuals who give of their time and energies and serve the best interests of their communities are an asset beyond remuneration, and cannot be sufficiently extolled. And whereas John Hickman has given not only his time and energies, but also of his competence, intelligence, and leadership, and consequently is being recognized for his many years of dedicated service to the community. John Hickman has been called upon to contribute his time and talents to countless civic charitable endeavors and has always given of himself unstingingly. And whereas dedicated to serving his community, John Hickman has served the East Fishkill community in several capacities. He was part of the Highway Department from 1991 to 1997, as well as the Building Department from 1998 to 2005, and served as town supervisor for 11 years. John Hickman's vision, hard work, compassion, and commitment have served the members of the community well. He is a role model for his colleagues and a mentor and advocate for citizens throughout the community. Throughout the entire period of the community service, a period of constructive involvement, John Hickman has stood constant in dignity, good grace, and humor. And whereas rare indeed is the impressive dedication shown by an individual for the benefit of others, which John Hickman has displayed throughout his life. It has always been the objective of this legislative office to honor and support those individuals who have displayed their commitment to the betterment of their communities. And it is the intent of this legislative office to inscribe upon its records this tribute to John Hickman, that future generations may know and appreciate his admirable character and his benevolent deeds, and the respect and esteem in which he is held by his peers. Now therefore be it resolved that the legislative office pause in its deliberations to honor John Hickman upon the occasion of his designation for special recognition on Thursday, December 14th, 2017, and be it further resolved that the copy of this proclamation suitably engrossed be transmitted to John Hickman.
Wow.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Boy, those state senators can put a lot on a proclamation, can't they?
Small print.
Small print, obviously, small print. This is a very difficult night for me. Been in office for 12 years. This is my last town board meeting, and it's to be a bit difficult for me, and it certainly hasn't helped. I appreciate everything. You know, I think one of the best things about this job, it really, you know, it's a good job and it's a great town. I love this town, but it's the appreciation. And sometimes people would come in and say things like, thank you very much, or good job, something like that. And it really, that means so much. That means so much. So this is really very, very important to me. And I want to thank everybody. And again, never take another point of order off the floor ever again. Truly, thank you very much. I do have a couple of statements to make, an opening statement. So I'll just go through that, and then we'll get to the meeting. So, but thank you very much, Councilman. Thank you very much for your show. And you said a man of vision. Well, you took that off my grandfather's plaque out front. I said, gee, couldn't these guys be a little more original?
Nothing's changed in 60
Nothing's
years.
changed, I guess, in 60 years, so what are you going to do? But
Gina gets the credit, though,
Right.
John. Gina's.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do appreciate it. Now, under, where was I? Supervisor's announcements. First, I would just like to announce I've received a letter from Dolores Rushin that she's stepping down from her position on the Architecture Review Board. Dolores has served on that board and previously served many years on the Planning Board, and I would like to thank Dolores Rushin for her service to our town and wish her well. As a matter of fact, for all of those that volunteer to serve on our various boards, thank you, because the effort that you put in is so important to the safety and quality of the life in our town. Also, I don't know if he's with us today. I think most of the police department is here. I'm sure somebody's out there patrolling, but I can't tell right now. But Police Officer Greg Stannis was recently honored by the Fraternal Order of Police for displaying courage in the face of danger, diligence, and hard work in bringing criminals to justice. And I'd like to congratulate Officer Stannis and the rest of our police department, because I can't tell you And not only the police department, because it's like anything else, you'll have to remember that there's the dispatchers that are there right along with them, because when they go out, it's a dispatcher that's putting them out there, and actually, it's dispatcher that's monitoring the situation and taking care of our police officers. So thank you to our officers, and thank you to our dispatchers. Just really quick, I did just want to go over, we have only a few resolutions for tonight's meeting. The first is to make an appointment to the open lieutenant's position, that we have to adopt the 2018 meeting dates. Dutchess County has reviewed one of our employees' job duties and directed us to change the job title. We need to recognize the new highway employee and set the dates for the public hearing on the Hillside Lake, public hearing on the dissolution plan. And we have to authorize the signing of an agreement for a resident to replace a fence on their property over which we have an easement. I just want to say I support the adoption of these resolutions, especially in regard to the people that we're promoting and to the reclassification. Quickly, in regards to the public hearing on the dissolution of the Hillside Lake Special Park District, as we know, the proposal to fund a project to create a townwide recreation area has failed. And tonight, the proposal I'm putting forth is to seek approval from the DEC to remove the dam, to install an outlet channel and drain the lake, rake off the lake bottom and seed it, remove 100 cubic yards of sediment, and amend the existing grants to a new project. And we would also look to possibly modify the DASNY grant. That's DASNY stands for Dormitory Authority of State of New York, to use the lily pad removal funding for raking and leave the lake a green area. But there's been talk among the community in Hillside Lake, and there's been talk amongst our board members, and they'd also like to consider another plan. And please believe me, we've always said we'll work with the residents of Hillside Lake. So I can assure you that this board will be working with residents of Hillside Lake to put together an alternate plan in the event that my plan is not the route that they wish to travel. There will be a meeting set. We'll set the public hearing tonight as per the dissolution law. One other thing, and I have to start just a little bit. I did write a little speech, so please bear with me. It's hard to believe, 26 years ago, I started working for the town of East Fishkill as a laborer in the highway department. Looking back, filling potholes was kind of fun. I found it to be a lot stress relief and a lot less complicated than life gets. But and I'd like to say that Chief Keefe once pointed out when we had a group meeting with all the employees of the town, they talked about employees that were problem employees. You could always spot them because they'd always go from department to department, and I was just a new town supervisor, and Chief Keefe turned to me and said, "I think they're talking about you." But as far as a problem employee, I guess I will not, after a few more weeks, be employed by the town of East Fishkill any longer. And that is a bit difficult. It's been 26 years of working for probably one of the best organizations that I know. I love our town, and what I think is so giving about this job is that what we do here is reflected in our town. The things we do here, you see out there, and this is what makes it a great town. Not only the people out there, but what we do here, and I'm just truly blessed to have been elected to this position for 6 terms, and probably kind of lucky too. So, but it's just been a fantastic experience. Tonight is my 239th town board meeting. It would have been 240, but Peter chaired the one in September when I took a vacation, which I rarely do. But after 239 town board meetings, I'm proud to say that I think we've accomplished a lot. They haven't all been easy. They haven't all been pleasant. But that's one thing about public service, and it's never going to be easy, and it's never going to be pleasant, because people are going to disagree. And that, I was one time, when I first got elected, I was going to put a sign up over this door. And I was going to say, because this is a very important room, the planning board meets here, the zoning board meets here, and the town board meets here. And I was going to have it read something like, in this room, many important decisions are made, much discussion and much debate, but when we walk out there, we walk out to make the town a better town. And that's really what it's all about, our working together to make the town a better town. So I never did get the sign made because it's a little bit too wordy and it really wouldn't have fit, but that's really, really what I think about what we do here. I've always tried to be professional, and I hold our town, and I think our town employees are the same. We hold our standard, a very high standard in the town of East Fishkill. and I'm very proud of everybody. You know, I look at what we've been doing, and just over the last, so what I've been doing in the last, this is my last meeting, so I'm getting kind of reflective. As we get older, we reflect on things. And, you know, so I say to myself, well, what have we done? It's been 12 years. And actually, I started a list, and the darn thing was kind of too long to really read tonight. So I didn't do the list, but there's a few things I do want to point out. And I would like to say one of the biggest things that we've done is something that you wouldn't see. It's not something we built. It's not something we purchased. It's actually these gentlemen here, and I'm going to point to them, don't get embarrassed, but Tom and Scott. When we brought in-house engineers and legal in-house, it made such a change with what we could do in the town of East Fishkill, because we could actually get projects done. We had people that were here on the job, and I got to tell you, and I will thank Tom Wood and Scott Bryant. They're the best professionals that I know, and one of the things, whenever we talk about a project or what, the first thing is, what is best for the town of East Fishkill? And I got to tell you, Tom, Scott, I don't know where I'd be without you guys. Mark, I'm going to get to Mark in a minute. He's the financial guy. We call Mark Dr. No, because anytime you talk about spending money, Mark hears you, and so he'll pop around the corner. But Tom and Scott, I really want to thank you guys, because we've done an incredible amount, a lot of stuff, and it's very impressive. Just a few of the things I did put down, you know, all the sewer and water projects. I'm sure you guys remember Sagamore Sewer. That was kind of a difficult talk about. Town board meetings weren't pleasant, but we resolved it. We bought it. We set the rates. Scott, we appointed you at that meeting, I think.
Yes, it's very interesting.
And you had to say to yourself, what am I getting into here? Yeah, we kind of all said that at one point or another. But we've done a lot of work together. And the construction of the Hamlet sewer, which Scott, with you, we brought it in on time and under budget. Expansion of the community center, which was really needed to be built out. And I'd have to also thank Bill Green, Sue Gardner, and their staff for all that they do for our seniors, because they run a great program over there. And we're proud that we were able to help them by expanding the community center. Purchase of the property across the street, Julie's Jungle, all these things. You know, the EPA's been trying I went to my first EPA meeting in December of 2005 on the Superfund site in the Ryan Drive Superfund site, Hopewell Precision Superfund site, and next year we're actually going to break ground and put the water mains in and resolve the water supply issue, and that's big. And that couldn't have happened without the purchase of the property across the street, which Scott called me on a Saturday and told me we really should look at buying this. It was one of those Saturday phone calls. Great idea. And worked with Scott and Tom and the DEC. So, you know, like I said, I can't thank these guys enough. Mark, our comptroller, I got to thank you too, for all of your work in finance. We put together budgets that are balanced, that projected revenues are realistic and equal projected expenditures. And I'll tell you, there's no such thing, I don't care what the economy is, there's no such thing as an easy budget. But we've also been diligent in our refinancing outstanding debt. We've saved nearly $3 million over the life of our bonds. And Mark, I'd have to thank you for all of your financial acumen, because you've been just a terrific asset to this town. From a budgetary point of view, I'm proud of what the town provides in services. Our tax rate is something like $3.20 per thousand of assessed values, based on the assessed value of your home. And $3.20, and I look around and I look at everything that you get for this. I'm really amazed for what we produce for the taxes that we collect. And you know, one of the things, our police department, I'd just like to say again, we have the best police department in Dutchess County. And tonight, I'm very proud that we're going to be appointing Sergeant Bellino to the position of lieutenant. Chris Bellino has been a solid person in the police department. He's always been there for us, a great sergeant, and I think he's going to do a terrific job as a lieutenant tonight. And I think, but this is just an example of what we do with our people, and we kind of grow them, and they do a great job. So I'd like to thank Chris and our entire police department. Commend you for the job that you do. Thanks to our highway and rec staff too. You know, they were out very early this morning, spread a whole lot of salt in the parking lot. I'll have to talk to somebody about that one. But, you know, they're out and they make sure our roads are clear, and they do our road work, and, you know, the rec department does a great job. We have 87 acres of recreation fields in the town, and they do a great job. One thing I do have to mention too is our town staff, some of who are here this evening. Not really some of who is here this evening. It's like everybody's here this evening, and it's really touching. I hope you're not getting overtime. That's my only concern. Mark is here, so Mark would make sure that nobody's going to be putting in for overtime tonight, but our staff is here. And I'd just like to thank you, because, all the people that work in this building conduct themselves professionally, they work diligently, and you're all a true credit to our town. And I got to tell you, one thing I say to people, it's kind of a corny way to put it, but what we have in East Fishkill is really cool. People do the right thing, people work hard, we have high standards, and we're public servants. And I got to tell you what, I'm just so amazed with each and every one of you. And it's been a privilege for me to work with you. I sincerely mean that. This is a great place. And wherever I go, I'm just so amazed by our people, and I just want to thank you for that. I couldn't close my little speech tonight without thanking my secretary, Gina Grippo. She's incredible. That's all I can say. Gina's incredible. She's just, she really does a great job, and she's really here for the town. She is so incredible. And the other person I have to mention, two people, is my wife Joanne and my stepdaughter, her daughter Amanda Cadwallader. I thank you, Joe and Amanda, for everything you do and supporting me in this job. It's been tough. Political office is never easy, and being Supervisor Nick is 24/7. You'll probably be like me, you're going to have a pad of paper next to your bed with a pen, and at some point in the night, you're going to grab it and be writing stuff, and your wife's going to be wondering what on earth you're doing. But I couldn't have done it without my wife and without our stepdaughter. I will be on the job until midnight of the 31st. That's it. Yep, there's not too much longer left, but it's coming soon. And to that, I would just like to say tonight, this is, to me, very emotional. So actually, I want to thank everybody. I would like to thank the public for giving me the opportunity to serve as town supervisor for 12 years. It's been an incredible experience. This is an incredible town. And this is a really emotional night for me. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to turn the meeting over to Deputy Supervisor Cassidy. I'm going to be leaving now. A little tough. You really don't make this any easier, let me tell you. And Lieutenant Bellino, I will not be here tonight. You will be voted in as a lieutenant tonight. And I do want to congratulate you. And again, our people are fantastic, and thank you so much. And to the public, tonight, I bid you farewell.
Give me that gavel.
Take the gavel. We got to push through.
Bang that thing.
This should be fun. Take it easy, Peter.
Easy. So gave me notes.
I see that.
It wasn't me that threw him under the bus, Tom.
Fun begins.
Roll call?
Councilperson Cassidy.
Present.
Councilperson D'Alessandro.
Present.
Councilperson Franco.
Present.
Councilperson Marinaro.
Present.
Supervisor Hickman left the building.
Don't cry. Clerk, have you received any corrections or changes to the minutes
No.
for October or November?
No, I have not.
Can I get a motion to accept the minutes for
So moved.
October 26th and November 9th?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Yes.
Works.
Easy, Keller.
Seat and file. Carol, anything?
There is none.
Public hearings, none. Public comments on agenda items only. Yes.
I assume Hillside Lake's on the agenda?
Yes?
I'd like to make a comment. The supervisor at the last, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
The supervisor at the last meeting said his recommendation was going to be to tear the dam down, let the lake drain, and I don't think that's a good idea, nor do I think it's nice. There's a difference between legal and moral, and I think that's an immoral thing to do, and I'll tell you why. I have the plan that was published on the town website. It's showing the recreation area, the parking, the walk around the lake, et cetera. That was for the $3 million bond, which failed. Okay? Now, on the bottom of the page, you see it says, unofficial results of the bidding on that contract. And there were 3 bids. One was for $786,000, one was for $900 and change, and one was for $722,000. Now, I assume that was just for the dredging and cleaning up and redirecting the sewer system. Now, I did a rough calculation. The lake, according to New York State, is 26 acres. If I take half of that as depth, and if I take anecdotal evidence from people who have been out there on rowboats dropping sinkers over, the depth of the lake in 40 years has decreased from 15 feet to 5 feet. Now, if you take half of that, because things tend to fill in the middle, not on the outsides, and you go through a rough calculation, 26 acres, 200 by 200 by 26 acres, divided by 2, you come up with 5,200,000 square feet of stuff that's gone in there. Now, I know that's a perennial fight between Hillside Lake and the town, and that's the residents of Hillside Lake and the town, and they say the people did it, and the people say the town did it. And just for the record, I do not live in Hillside Lake, nor any place near it. This is in my interests of the town of East Fishkill only. If you work that down and assume half of it is land around the outside, because normally when you walk into a lake, it gets deep very slowly, and then gets deep in a hurry when you get to the deep part. So I took off another factor of 2. If you do that, we get 1,925,000 cubic feet that the town's donated to Hillside Lake over the years of fill. Okay, that's dividing the land by 2, taking off the outside area, which comes down to 4,815 cubic yards a year. I think the town owes it to Hillside Lake to make some remediation for the damage they've done to the lake. My assumptions may be way off, but I would bet it's at least 1,000 cubic yards a year. So I think the town owes it. Now, I know we have a grant that got screwed up, and I won't say no comments on how it got screwed up. And I think if, knowing Tom, now Tom's worth every dollar you guys pay him and more. I should have mentioned that last time I was here. Knowing Tom, there's some way to get that money and use it to remediate the lake. And I think we could probably find another $100,000. The highway department budget went up by $100,000. I believe some of the other departments had large increases too. To redirect the stormwater, as in the original proposal, and to start cleaning up the lake. Now, one of the things you could do is introduce zebra mussels, which have inadvertently been done to the Great Lakes, and they make the water so clear that algae is now growing. So I don't think we want to go to that extent, but we should do something to fix something we screwed up. That's it.
I'll comment on your, Mr. Wilbarg. We have entered into some discussions with the people in Hillside Lake. We had a meeting with them, the members of this board sitting here, about 2 weeks ago, and we had a lot of success. We came forward with a plan to incorporate the 2 grants that we were granted, and some other options. We need to be removing the concrete structure that's there, that's the dam now, because that's on our hazard mitigation list. And couple other things that we are roughing, that was a rough draft right then at that night. So we're finalizing a plan, and we will be going back to the people of Hillside Lake in January to provide them with a full plan, what we're going to be doing.
So the draining the lake is off the board
The draining of the lake
permanently?
proposal that the supervisor mentioned tonight was his proposal, because by law, we have to have a date, set a hearing date for the dissolution plan by law. So we can make modifications to that plan, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay, I was unaware of any of
Yes.
that, nor was
And
any
I
of that
didn't
on the
know, and
website.
you should have known because you, like you say, you didn't live there.
Right.
Right, but I'm filling you in on what's
Okay.
currently going on.
That's all I asked for,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other public comments on non-agenda items? Resolutions. First resolution is to appoint a police lieutenant. Whereas a vacant lieutenant position has been open upon the retirement of Lieutenant Mark Alberti, the Chief of Police is asking that East Fishkill Town Board to appoint lieutenant to that position. Whereas the Town Board has reviewed the Dutchess County Civil Service list, and now therefore it be it resolved that the Town Board appoints Sergeant Christopher Bellino as an East Fishkill Police Lieutenant, and be it further resolved, the salary, benefits, and the above position will be in accordance with the PBA contract. I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. So moved. We'll take like a 2-minute break for a photo op.
Lieutenant, congratulations.
Now you guys can all go back to work? No. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a letter from the deputy supervisor.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Be safe. Night.
Wouldn't that be good?
Half the budget.
Snap me out of my sorrow. It's hot
All right,
in
come
here.
on.
Okay,
Come on,
ready?
come on,
go.
we gotta move.
Ready for them to leave? Shut the door behind them. Bill, shut
It's
the door on
okay,
the
go
way out.
ahead. Bye, Deacon.
Can I get a motion to approve the 2018 Town Board meeting dates?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. The next resolution, Nick, do you want to read that one?
Sure.
Authorizes civil service reclassification?
Whereas Dutchess County Human Resources have performed a desk audit for the proper classification for a position in the building department currently held by Brenda Porter, and whereas Dutchess County has reclassified the position to the position of office manager, and that the supervisor be and hereby is authorized to have the proper changes for the position made to reflect the reclassification, and that there will not be any changes in pay and/or benefits.
Get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Tom, would you like to explain a little bit about that, please?
Sure. What happens is the Civil Service Department reviews our payroll records, and Brenda had been working out a title, if you will, so they decided to come down and do what they call a desk audit, where they actually came down and met with her, reviewed what she does, met with her immediate supervisor, and then they analyzed that, and then they came back and said that her title should really be that of office manager. So there being no list at this time, the town board can appoint her as office manager, but when a test comes out, she must take the test and pass the test and be in the top 3 to be permanently appointed. So it's a provisional appointment.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? or-
No, we're lucky to have her, though. She's very good. And we'll need help in that department, so I'm sure I've told the rest of the town board, next year, we'll be discussing improvements to all the departments, whatever we can do.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right?
Opposed? So moved. Recognize highway appointment. Manny, could you read that one?
Whereas the highway superintendent has interviewed and hired Jesse Schwartzenko as a full-time laborer for the highway department, and whereas the highway superintendent has submitted a memo to the town board, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board does hereby acknowledge the hiring of Jesse, gonna give it another try, Schwartzenko,
Shashenko.
Shashenko,
Shishenko.
sorry for that, as a full-time laborer in the highway department. Jesse Shashenko will be paid $18.03 per hour. Be it further resolved that Jesse Shashenko started full-time on November 22nd, 2017.
We need a motion?
Yes.
You need one.
Yeah.
You need a
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain?
Yep.
Set a public hearing date and for the Hillside Lake dissolution plan. Tom, please.
Sure. Whereas a elector-initiated dissolution proceeding has been commenced with respect to the Hillside Lake Park District, and whereas pursuant to Article 17A of the General Municipal Law, and proposed dissolution plan must be put up for public hearing. Whereas the supervisor had proposed dissolution of the Park District as well as the removal of the dam and drain the lake, subject to DEC approval, and whereas this board intends to modify this proposal over the next few months, and whereas the law requires the town board at its December 2017 meeting to set a public hearing on a plan and make certain findings. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board makes the following findings with respect to the voter-initiated dissolution proceeding. Name of entity to be dissolved, Hillside Lake Park District. Boundaries, generally the Hillside Lake subdivision as set forth in the order establishing the district. Type of entity, special district. Cost of dissolution, only cost will be for removing risk of dam failure and plus or minus $140,000. Employees, none. Assets, all lands will be offered to the town as general parkland. Liabilities, none. Agreements with the town, district property to be transferred to town as open space with dam removed. Continuation of services, land will still be open space. Disposition of assets, land to townwide, any fund balance applied to cost proposed. Effective date, June 30th, 2018. Be it further resolved that the town board intends to modify the proposed plan on or before February 15th, 2018. And be it further resolved that the town board will hold a special town board meeting on March 1st, 2018, at 7 p.m. at the town hall for the purposes of holding a public hearing on the elector-initiated plan to dissolve the Hillside Lake Park District. And be it further resolved that the town clerk will properly notice said hearing.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. And Nick, would you read the last one? Authorize supervisor to sign a license agreement?
Whereas the town of East Fishkill has an easement at 879 North Hillside Lake Road, and the current resident has asked the town for approval to replace a fence on the property with the understanding that the town will continue to have the right to use of said easement, and that the supervisor being hereby is authorized to execute an agreement to allow the current owner of 879 North Hillside Lake Road to erect a fence in the town right-of-way with the understanding that the town will continue to have full right of use of said easement.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? Scott, you want to give a little explanation real quick on that? So you or Tom would be better.
Well, basically, the property owner had a fence. The right-of-way kind of curves onto their property and to their lawn. They had a fence, it was removed, now they want to replace it. So this formalizes that you're giving them consent to do that. but that you're still able to use the property should the need arise. There's a little sketch attached to the board members' packet.
Tom, does that need to be put on the property's deed? This,
No, this would just be, it's more or less like a license agreement, so it's at the pleasure of the town board at any time. Any town board now or in the future could revoke it, make the fence come down, and use the right-of-way, so it's not a permit, it's
so
on
if-
our property, not their
right, so
property.
if somebody buys that property in the future and they do a title search,
They'll see
this
that
will not
on
show,
the-
or this will show?
On the survey, will show that the post and rail fence is off the property line in the right-of-way.
Okay, Manny?
Yeah.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Budget transfers? I don't even let you spend money. At this point, we'll take public comments on general town issues. This is time when you can bring stuff before the board, but it's not a debate session. Yes?
Yes, I'm back again. This time you can call me Scrooge. I had a talk with Mr. Hickman before he left, and he told me it was the holidays and I should take it easy. So I'm going to take it easy. This is a general town issue, I believe. I have never seen any really negative political ads put out until now. There was one this year, and it was put out against Mr. Marinaro. I keep wanting to mispronounce that name. Manny. I was going to go into a lot of the untruths on the statement, but in honor of Mr. Hickman's request, I won't do that. But I will say this. It was put out, mailed out of Newburgh. It was mailed by a firm that doesn't exist, called MailPro. I talked to the owner of MailPro, and I requested to know who mailed them, and they said they preferred not to tell me. I gave them my full name, address, phone number, and email address. Have not heard from them. Okay, they said they got it from a designer. I will find out who the designer was. This has implications not only legally with the IRS and other things, because there's only certain ways you're allowed to donate to campaigns in this state now. No longer PACs, I believe, no longer can dedicate money or spend money. It must be something else. I wrote to the East Fishkill Republican Party Committee, and they did not respond, and that was well over 2 weeks ago. And my email simply said, please tell me you had nothing to do with this. No response. All I can therefore confer is that perhaps the Republican Party did have something to do with it, and that's shame on somebody. One of the people I talked to in the line going down said, who do you think would put out something like this? Somebody that's running against them. There was only one person running against Manny on the conservative line. That was Mr. Franco. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't know what it is. But dirty politics has no place in the town of East Fishkill. Now, it's interesting. They were only mailed to Republicans. And the reason I know that, in full disclosure, is I worked the phones for Manny to get him elected. And I talked to a lot of people. No Democrat, no conservative, no independent got that. Only Republicans, and the one I have was mailed to my wife, who's a registered Republican. I'm not. This is dirty politics. This is the worst sort of dirty politics. And I just don't believe it could be condoned. If you know who did it, I think you ought to say something. If you know anything about it, you ought to say something. And that's as easy as I'll take it in regards to the former supervisor's request of me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't normally write down what I speak, but I did tonight. Before I do, I would just like to say that I don't want you guys up there to take this as an attack. I would like you to take it as progress for the future, I hope. My name is John Jackson, lifelong resident of the East Fishkill. And any comments that I make are my own and not representative of the East Fishkill Fire District or the East Fishkill Fire Advisory Board. There seems to be a lot of speculation going around Facebook, of all things, about why I ran for town councilman this past election cycle. Among many others, the main reason I ran for office was to sit up there and represent the folks of the fire and EMS service that volunteer to protect and serve our citizens Each month, I see the police, highway, and recreation departments reported on and praised for the professional service that they get paid to provide. I want to take a pause right there, and I want to thank the police department for doing that. As a volunteer, I work with the police department every day. I think this was an amazing show of support that they had for their lieutenant here today, and I thought that was great, and I think they're great. I personally thank them and think they do an awesome job. I rarely, if ever, see that the fire and EMS departments are praised or even mentioned for the professional services that they volunteer to provide. Since I was not elected to represent them, at the very least I will stand here and acknowledge them. I think they do an awesome job also. The fact that we volunteer to provide thousands of hours of service saves the taxpayers millions of dollars annually. I would suggest that a liaison position be assigned from your board to the fire district for better communication. I've also served on the Fire Advisory Board for 20 years, and during that time I've seen more attention given to the planting of trees and shrubs and the color of buildings than to the suggestions made for the safety of our citizens and emergency responders. I would ask the town board to please do what you can to help place priority on life and death issues that our town faces. Along those lines, I had spoken a couple meetings back and asked that the Spotlight on East Fishkill run a show on awareness of the opioid addiction crisis. I would just like to remind you to consider taking a proactive stance on this issue, and thank you for your time for my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else?
As far as the problems with drugs and the opium problems in the community, I think that we have discussed, right, Nick? And we have, on a request from some people in the community, we have made contacts, and we will have an awareness program. Possibly either a monthly or whatever they decide, the group decides to conduct it. We will try to coordinate this with the churches in our community and anybody that wants to participate. So we are ready, and thank you for bringing that to our attention, but I think that we will be working on that. And possibly the meetings will take place in Town Hall, and it will be videotaped for the community to see. So we will continue that. We have made contacts with Cape, right, Nick?
Yeah, I did speak. I'm going to have a meeting with the director of CAPE, Mrs. Trumpetto. Been passing back and forth some ideas on what to do to have more of a presence in East Fishkill for the opioid and drug epidemic, and possibly to, like the councilman said, combine some of the meetings that they have several meetings at different churches, at different other organizations, schools. Possibly we can centralize them, and we can have, I know the old supervisor, or the current supervisor, I should say.
Lame duck.
He did many times have Cape here to do presentations, which were on Channel 22, and I'd like to continue and expand that. So Mrs. Trumpetto has had, I've had communication with her, and we'll be having a meeting come to New Year. Also, I have thought about the fire and EMS liaison, and I am doing some thinking about the Fire Advisory Board. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. I will finalize my plan by the new year for the reorganization meeting on January 11th, but I'm proposing possibly to have a liaison that will meet with the fire district, and possibly the correspondence with the planning boards and zoning boards, possibly to do something with them where they directly will provide information to the fire district. Because I think there's been a loss of communication. I spoke with Mr. Jackson about this several times, and I think maybe we can improve that. So come the the reorganization meeting, I will lay out my plan for everything.
I've also got in touch with our chief of police. He's a member of CAPE, and we have spoken about the drug abuse problem. So we are working on that, and we want to thank you for bringing it to our attention again.
Anything else, Manny?
Uh,
I don't know if there is anybody else.
Any more public?
Any more public comments?
I have something.
Yep, go ahead.
I just want to just take a quick moment, and I would like to personally thank the outgoing Highway Superintendent, Billy McClellan. Billy and I worked together on recreation, and one of the things that, over the last 2 years, I had a vision about our fields, and it was just a vision, but Billy and his guys, they did the work, and that meant a lot. And when you talk to a lot of the guys out on the field, they really enjoyed what he did. So I just wanted to say publicly, thank you. I appreciate the hard work that you did.
Any other comments?
That's it.
I'd just like to, I didn't want to get up because the town supervisor wanted nothing. I didn't throw him under the bus, but I can guess who did, and it wasn't Gina. John and I have been up here for a lot of years. It was 12 years. Tell Sue Serino to correct it before she gives him the petition. We haven't always agreed. We haven't always disagreed. We've usually met in the middle on a lot of cases, but it was a pleasure, and he did care a lot about this town. And I hope you can still call him after January 1st. I wouldn't bet on it, but
I told him I'm calling him.
he's got caller ID. He may not answer. I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, before I turn it over to Nick. And Nick, I got this out of us before 8 o'clock with
Okay.
presentation.
I don't know if Nick,
Until you start.
is Nick going to be the last
Go
person?
ahead,
Yeah,
Manny, you
Nick's
can
gonna be
go.
last. Go ahead, Manny.
All right. I mean, I wrote a couple of things down. I mean, as we heard before, I am very happy to share with the community the agreement of the dissolution of the Old Salt Lake District. It's a proposed long-term plan to repair and restore the lake. At our last meeting on December 6th with the Old Salt Lake community at the Old Salt Lake Firehouse, I was happy to see a lot of smiling faces at the end of that meeting, especially from the Old Salt Lake community. Once again, I'd like to thank the newly elected town supervisor, Mr. Nick D'Alessandro, and the rest of the town officials for their participation and support while these meetings took place. And of course, a big thank to the El Salt community for their amicable participation. Just briefly, just wanted to say a couple of things. I've had few private discussion with our newly elected town supervisor, and we both agreed that there is much work to be done for our town and our constituents. I personally have expressed few points of interest in order for our town to continue to grow and to create more business, more jobs, and a tax base for town hall. This will reduce the tax burden on the private citizens. Also, I would like to see, and I shared this with Nick, that all the offices in our community that deliver the services to our constituents be run more like a business-like environment. We are here to serve the community, and I personally don't like to hear I went there and something didn't happen. There's always two sides to the stories, but at the end of the day, we need to better the environment for the service that we provide. So we both agreed on that. The other thing that I want to say at this point is I want to thank the great service that our police department and, of course, our fire department, which is made of many volunteers. Thank you. Thank you for the time that you spend making our life safe in our community. And again, I want to congratulate Nick on your future
Thank you.
adventure. Good luck.
Adventure it's going to be.
We'll be working together. I want to say that we will be working together to serve the community. I think we will cooperate. That's something that we have agreed on. And the town of East Fishkill will be proud of the work that we'll be doing. There is a lot of work to be done. So our intent is to serve the community and to serve it well and make the town of East Fishkill a better place to be in. Thank you. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everybody.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion as to what's going to happen to my seat come January. Well, anybody who is interested to sit on the town board, I ask that you put your resume forward to the town supervisor's office now through February 1st. After that, the town board will review the resumes, and we will conduct interviews to see who will fill the seat. I'd like to thank all our town residents who live in our town and who take part in everything in our town. We appreciate you. We're here to work for you. I'm here to work with the town board come the new year. I'm very happy. I've had many discussions with them already. I think that we have a great town, and I hope to improve it. I'm looking forward to the new job, and I'm very thankful to our Highway Superintendent, Bill McClellan. Thank you very much for all the work you have done an excellent job, and all the newly electeds, and I hope that everybody will work together and we'll be a cohesive unit to get everything done for the town. We have a great town. It's a big town. There's a lot to do, and I think we're up to the job. I'd like to thank all our town employees, all our volunteers, their families. I want to wish you all a very happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and that's about it.
All right, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
To adjourn.
Carol? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
So
please.
moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next town reorganization meeting, January 11th, 2018. Regular meeting, January 25th, 2018.
Bang the gavel.